Hello, judges. My name is Nicholas Otieno. I analyzed 23,784 fiscal data points across 14 countries spanning 9 years. That is from 2015 to 2023. What I found will actually change how we think about African fiscal policy. I identified 5 critical insights. Each of these insights, they are backed by hard data, and each critical insight has a specific implementable solution. Let's begin. At number 1, we have the debt spiral. If you look at this scatter plot, we have for Rwanda and we have for Nigeria. Nigeria has 68,782% debt to GDP ratio. Yes, 68,000. That is from the data. And if you check, the growth rate is at 2.71. But when you come to Rwanda, Rwanda is at 36.46%, that is debt to GDP, and their growth rate is at 8.24. If you look at this in a time series, a plot like this one from 2015 to 2023, you check for the Nigeria, then you check for Rwanda, then something amazing at 2017. 2017, the debt crisis jumped from 508% to 6,306.86 with average growth rate at 3.4. What does this mean? This means that the math being shown here is very simple, that the countries with high debt to GDP ratio above 400 shows 71% lower growth rates than those below 60%, just like the Rwanda. So my recommendation is we have a constitutional debt ceiling at 60% of our GDP. For each and every country, it be at 60% of that country's GDP. You might ask, why 60? It is at 60 because that is what even the IMF proves to be a threshold. 15 African countries with debt below 60% average has 4.2 growth, while those with 60 and above are just 2.1%. Judges, this is not theory. This is very, very empirical from our data set. Let's go to insight number 2. In insight number 2, we have revenue sustainability crisis. You check South Africa, you check Tanzania. Then we have Kenya, Morocco in between all those countries. Now, for South Africa, we have revenue volatility at 17.37%. What is the sustainability score? 55.33. Come to Tanzania. Tanzania has a revenue volatility of 298.4. 298%. But if you check the sustainability score, is only at 2.87. What does this mean in practice? When your revenue swings by 298% year over year, you cannot plan, right? You cannot budget for schools. You cannot budget for hospitals. You cannot fund them. It means SDG number 4, that is education, and SDG number 3, health, they become impossible. If you check just now the comparisons I made for South Africa, Ethiopia, and Tanzania. Tanzania's scores is at 2.9, Ethiopia 18, South Africa 50, 5.3. You can see that South Africa, they maintained it at 96, but Ethiopia at 44, while Tanzania is 298. For this problem or for this insight, I recommend that we have automatic revenue stabilization fund, whereby we can squeeze a 15% of above trend revenue into a buffer. Is this something which has been done? Yes. If you check Rwanda, they did this. They reduced volatility from 54% to 32% between 2015 and 2023. That is 40% improvement. Judges, the blueprint exists. We just need to scale it. Insight number 3, which speaks a lot, is the capital expenditure efficiency paradox. How efficient is a country is in its capital expenditure. If you look at Senegal and you look at Nigeria, you might cry, but don't, right? Senegal's efficiency is at 102.94. Nigeria efficiency is at 0.83. These are not cooked data. These are not gotten statistics. They are proven by the data. Senegal, they allocate 41.3 of their budget to infrastructure. That is to roads, schools, hospitals, and such. Their deficit to capex ratio is 0.2. What does that mean? It means for every dollar they deficit spend, they invest 2.5. When you talk of Nigeria, their score is at 0.8, 0.83. What does that mean? They mean for every dollar they invest, they deficit spend 8.4. You have $1, but you deficit spend 8.4. Then you ask yourself, where does the money go? And you will realize that the money goes to recurrent costs, salaries, subsidies, debt serving. The future of the country gets sacrificed for the present. I recommend that we have a constitutional mandate whereby 30% of budget, a minimum 30% of budget must go to capital expenditure. Not may or we, but must go to capital expenditure. You might say that these ones are cooked things, but there is evidence. Ethiopia hit 42.8 in 2023. Their score is at 92.8. Their infrastructure outcome, strong SDG number 9 performance. Nigeria could do this, Ghana could do this, even Kenya can do this. The data proves it is achievable. The insight number 4 is multidimensional performance gaps. You know, one country is good in one, the other country is good in the other country is good in the other. If you check this radar chart, it reveals something critical once again, that no single country excelled across all dimensions. South Africa, they dominate at what? At sustainability, but fails at growth, which is at 0.7. If you check Rwanda, they crash growth at 8.2, but struggles with revenue volatility. What of Ethiopia? Ethiopia, the same. What of Nigeria? Very, very catastrophic across all metrics. So, the insight that this radar chart is giving us is African countries need peer learning networks. Rwanda should teach growth strategies. South Africa should share tax efficiency models. Ethiopia should mentor capital allocation. This is not something hypothetical, because if you check World Bank SDG 17 partnership, they have a framework on how to do this partnership. So what do I recommend? I recommend that we create a formalized knowledge sharing platform under the African Union, where we'll have a quarterly summits where finance minister from high performing countries, they train their peers. This knowledge exists, we only need to transfer it. But sometimes we need to be warned, maybe like an alarm. We just need a system whereby can the system can alert us of a danger. That is why I developed a predictive fiscal stress model. The stress model combines four key metrics, which we've seen in the four insights, that is debt levels, growth rates, revenue volatility, and capital efficiency. The critical one, if a country has a score of 70 to 100, that is very critical. The warning is at 40 to 70. The stable is at 0 to 40. Like Togo, Rwanda, South Africa, they are very stable. As per the model I developed, the system, which is again AI powered early warning system. If you check Ghana and Egypt, they are at a warning, but Nigeria, very critical. You can see the index is at 81. 81 is past. So what this system does is when a country hits a score of 60 and above, it will have an automatic trigger where we'll have maybe IMF consultation, we have a regional support package, or number three is emergency policy review. Those who are responsible because the alarm has been raised. How did I come up with this model? I validated it against 9 years of data, that is the hackathon dataset. Countries with scores above 70, 89% of them experience fiscal crisis in 9 months. Then the model, countries with 30%, those with the score below 30%, those ones maintained 94% stability. Judges, as I conclude, these are my recommendations. Number one, we have 5 insights, then 5 solutions. The first solution is we have a constitutional debt ceiling at 60% of our GDP or of the country's GDP. Number two, revenue stabilization fund targeting 30% volatility. Number three, minimum 30% capital expenditure mandate. Number four, peer learning networks under African Union. Then finally, the model we have here, the one I've developed, physical stress index early warning system here. This one will enable the country to have a warning system. Africa can achieve physical resilience. We just need the political will to implement what the data is screaming at us. Thank you. Thank you, judges.